of the broadcast team this evening, a friend of this radio program, and a former New England Patriot superstar. That is the great Devin McCourty. Devin, good morning.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
Great. Nice to see you last night.
Likewise, man. It's always good to see you. And I got to hang out with Ninkovich, who let me know he replaced me on Wednesday. So you let Ninkovich make fun of me right in front of my face without, giving me a warning of like the person who replaces you. Like that was pretty mean, Greg.
Well, listen, I mean, you were with us for I think one season and then off to the bigs. I mean, it's the network now.
It's very sad.
I understand. It kind of left us in the dust here, but we appreciate the advancement of your career. You're doing a good job, by the way.
Well, thank you. At least I can say Nico was a downgrade, so I'll make sure I let him know.
We talked about this briefly last night, but this team is 8-2. How surprised by that outcome so far are you, Devin McCourty?
I think it's happening a little faster than everyone thought. I think you saw in the preseason, being around and doing the games, there was a lot of rumblings. I think that people felt like, hey, man, like I'm looking at this schedule, like this team could win 10 or 11 games. But I don't think that came with, hey, man, this team could be the number one seed in the AFC. This team could win the division. I think those are the things that shocked people. But I think it's hey, when you have an influx of talent, you go out there and you identify the guys you think will be good, and you put them all in a room, and you put a leader like Vrabel in front, and you see the belief, like being there in the preseason and seeing, guys that not even just the young guys, the veterans who came in, the Spillanes, the Diggs, the Milton Williams, and seeing how they were buying in. It was like, oh, man, like they might have something good here. It's been fun to watch so far this year.
Devin, after the win on Sunday, you gave a lot of credit to the rookies on this team. How impressed have you been with how they've been able to step up?
Yeah, it's been fun. And, being a rookie, I think the toughest thing is you come in, we used to always have this debate, coming in as a high-round pick or a guy with high expectations rather than coming in undrafted or late-round pick. What's the balance of that? And, me coming in as a first-round pick, you just always felt the pressure. People always expecting the best out of you. Why, or if you're not doing something, like, why is he not doing it? Let's go back and dissect the film. And you look at like Trevion Henderson and Kyle Williams of, all right, when are they going to have their breakout games or this or that? And I think for those guys to just stay locked in and say, hey, I'm not going to worry about what my numbers look like, how many reps I'm getting. I'm just going to continue to plug away. You've heard the coaching staff talk about that. So to see the game Sunday where it's like, all right, Kayshon Bouttie's out, all right, Ramondre Stevenson's out, like you guys, it's your turn to get out there and go. There was no nervousness. They just went out there and played, and I think that's a lot of credit to them. And, one of the guys I've been blown away by is just Woodson. I think for Woodson to be out there, play after play, snap after snap, and play a key communication role in the defense, like he has to be putting in so much work to know the defense, to know what they're checking to understand what the offense are attacking. I know he doesn't have big numbers when it comes to interceptions and pass breakups, but he's doing a lot right out there on the field, and that's not easy to do as a rookie in the secondary. So I've really been impressed by him.
We talked about this the other day. Is this the best Pats draft class since you and Gronk in 2010?
I mean, it feels like that, especially when you talk about being able to contribute right away and have an impact on the field. And I think that has been the biggest thing. I think the hardest thing about any draft class is to continue. How can you continue to be, whatever that is on the field? How can you do it year in and year out? But you look at a draft class and you can say, hey, where are your rookies showing up? And you're like, man, we got 2 rookies starting on the offensive line. We got a rookie receiver that's now, I think going to have some kind of impact. A running back that I think is going to have a huge impact going down the stretch, and guys playing on defense. Like they might even be deeper than, what our rookie class had. And, we had, 3 or 4 guys that played large roles on the team, but those guys, I think they really have guys that you have to count on. And I think, how it is in New England, the key will be, hey, can those guys show up and make plays down the stretch after Thanksgiving in the playoffs? And if they do that, I mean, we got eliminated in a divisional round our rookie year. If they could go further than that, I think you can really look at this class and say how special it is.
Dev, Wiggy is in Springfield because he went to see the boys play for UMass last night. Unfortunately, a loss. So Wiggy has something for you, I think. Wiggy?
Yeah, Dev, what's good with you, man? I thought I had no rhythm until I watched you guys put the videos up. Other than you, I feel like, you know what, I got a little bit of rhythm when I watch those videos.
Matthew Berry looking good.
Keep them coming because Chris Sims, I mean, man, I thought I had two left feet. But, Dev, to kind of touch on that point a little bit, I believe that this team has what it takes to get all the way and win the Super Bowl this year. Do you feel the same way about that? And part of me believing that is because I feel like the NFL is so wide open and there's so much parity at the top. I don't feel like there's that one juggernaut team.
I agree 100%. Sitting there watching the games every week, as soon as you're about to fall in love with a team or you think like, man, you know, Buffalo plays Kansas City and you're like, okay, maybe Buffalo, because I thought Buffalo has, you know, some issues on their team that are glaring. And then they go play Kansas City, and I'm like, man, okay, maybe they're a little better than I thought. And then they go and lose to Miami. And whether it's the Colts, whether it's the Rams, Detroit, like all these teams, like don't get me wrong, they're good football teams. And on any Sunday, you watch them play and you say, man, that might be the best team in the league. And to me, you throw New England in there and you say the same thing. You throw Seattle in there. So I've always looked at it of who can catch fire and start playing their best ball right as you enter December. As you're going into that stretch where, you know, I think for some teams you might have these huge matchups. For other teams, you might play some divisional games against some teams that might be done and packed up for the season. But how can you treat all of those games as kind of like playoff wins? Because each time you win, I think New England will be in this situation. I remember Belichick used to say to us, you get to this point in the season, each win is a playoff win, because if you can get the bye week, that's an automatic move right to the next round. So that is a playoff win. And I think if you can start to develop that mindset going forward, you could be playing your best ball. And I think New England could be in that situation. And my whole thing is once you get to that championship game, you win that game, you get to the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter the overs, the unders, who's favorite. Like you get in that last game of the year and your players understand your game plan, you can execute your game plan better than someone else, you walk away Super Bowl champs. Like that is, I've been in games where we've been the favorite and you lose because the other team's game plan and execution is better. And I've been in other games where like the Rams in 2018, high-powered offense, how can the Patriots defense stop them? And you walk away with a win with one touchdown being scored. So I definitely think they can be a team that's there in the last game of the year.
Devin, I'm just curious. You had mentioned Belichick and how he prepared for the team down the stretch. If you were in charge of the Giants, if you were, you know, maybe the owner of the Bills and that season goes in a bad direction, would you hire Bill Belichick at this stage of his career?
I don't know. I would say this. I would have Belichick in. Like, I thought the craziest thing when he was free as a coach before is that teams didn't meet with him. I would definitely have him in. I think you got to fall in love with a candidate, because I'm under the belief of when you hire somebody, it shouldn't be you have a year and a half to 2 years to turn this whole thing around. Like, I think when you hire someone, you should say, like, hey, we're in this for the long haul. Like, we're trying to figure this out. So is Belichick that guy that you say, hey, we're in this for the long haul? I don't know. You would have to fall in love with him from a GM standpoint and all of that. But to me, like, if I'm Shane, if I'm Brendan Beam, if he's still there, however it works out, I would bring Belichick in and say, hey, what would you do? How do you see this situation? Hey, what do you think about this player or that player? It's just, to me, it's a wealth of knowledge that not many people have gotten to sit down and break down of how he built teams. And listen, when we were here, Tom Brady, like, his greatness made our team what it was. But the idea to continue to be a hard-on guys and to bring in the right guys, or choosing, hey, this guy stays, that guy goes, Belichick did that better than anybody over a 20-year span. If I'm any organization, I would want him in to know how he saw players, how he evaluated them. I think too often we're like, hey, what's happening at North Carolina? the girlfriend, like this and that. Like, put all that aside. I'm going to bring that guy in and say, how can we keep him in a room for 10 hours and, take everything he's ever done and try to get it all in, a 10 to 12-hour span.
You just mentioned Tom Brady. Is it too early to compare Drake Maye to him?
Yeah, way too early. I mean, he's got to put together a lot of seasons for me to even, think about uttering, him and Tom Brady. I don't think it's too early to break down, the early part of Tom Brady's career and compare, because when you work in media, like, that's what you do. You have to. It's fun to do, but I think overall to mention him and mention Brady and what Brady was able to do in New England is just too soon, But hey, you enter those conversations. If you get to the Super Bowl and you win a Super Bowl, you enter the conversation to be spoken about with anybody. But I still think that's a time away before we can enter Drake Maye into there.
Sorry, Wiggs. To further that question, though, 10 weeks in, where would you rank Drake among other quarterbacks?
Right now, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback. That's why he's a favorite in the MVP race. Listen, I think when you're a quarterback and in this league and your team's winning and you're playing at a high level, that makes you the guy to talk about. Whether it was Jaiden Daniels last year as a rookie, C.J. Stroud when he was a rookie, Matthew Stafford right now, even at, his older age. When you're quarterbacking a top-level team that's going out there executing, you should be spoken about in high regard. Daniel Jones, same thing with Indianapolis right now, and Sam Darnold and Seattle. Guys that are not big names, guys that were written off, whatever you want to say, you go do that. You should be talked about. I think for me, when you talk about MVP, like Jonathan Taylor and Matthew Stafford, to me, would have a leg up. But, I think it's crazy, and if anybody would have said 2 years ago we're going to get a quarterback in Drake Maye, and in his second year he's going to be top 5 in MVP talks, I would have said, hey, give me that right now. That's ridiculous. And I think that's what he's played his way into.
Dev, this I think is, you better than anybody to talk about. One of our great minds in football is Greg Hill, and he asked this question.
Can you say the name again, please?
Greg Hill, and he asked this question every week, it's such a great question, and I try to wrap my head around it, but as an offensive guy, I don't know. What is it with this defense that they always give up, like that first possession, they give up points? And you've been in defenses, so can you maybe give us a window into what could lead to that?
Yeah, I've always thought it's a combination of your calls are kind of safer or all out. I think New England, I think the players and, core, they're figuring out what's the best calls and how to operate. So, I look at last week in Tampa, Tampa came out in a formation that to me was kind of obvious of the point of the field that they would attack. But Gonzalez was a little too far off Emeka Egbuka. I thought Woodson could have been a little bit more aggressive in their call in the middle of the field. But they were all I would say a step and a half, a little late. Kind of maybe this is a concept, maybe it's not. Let's just play it safe. And I think they kind of have that approach in the game. I think it's, they have some younger guys out there. So you're figuring out the game plan, how this team's going to attack you. And it's almost let's not be too aggressive early and let's figure it out. And then I think then they go from there. But I do think they can, and I think they probably will be. It's at this point of the season where you can start to say, hey, I don't think this team is going to open the game and attack us running up the middle. And if they do, let them have fun blocking Tonga, Milton Williams, and Barmore. And I think they will start to say, let's play to our strengths on this opening drive. Let's come with maybe outside pressure because we think the team, if they run, they're going to attack us outside. Hey, let's call some calls in the secondary that allow us to jump some routes in the middle of the field because we think teams are going to go play action and, pretend like they're going to run up the middle and try to hit us right behind the linebackers. I think they'll start to feel hey, this is how we're being attacked. Let's now start to attack that instead of being a little bit more passive. But I think they're also hey, we give up a drive early in the game and then that's it. let's not go crazy and change everything. But I think as a fan, even when I watch, I go, here we go again, early drive in the game, giving the team confidence. Like tonight is just like, hey, don't give the Jets any type of drive to give them confidence. Let's get 3 and out or a turnover and, take over the game right from the beginning. But we'll have to see how it plays out.
You brought up Gonzalez. He's eligible for an extension after this season. What
Extend him.
What's that number?
Extend him.
Is that like 130, 140? Like, what's that number look like to you?
Whoever was that? Is that Sauce Gardner's contract? Give him 100,000 more to Sauce, make him happy, whatever that is. To me, and I said it, I was on Chris Sims' podcast. I said I think Gonzalez this year goes from, instead of people saying like he's top 10 to top like 5-ish, I think people say like, hey, there's no corner I would take over Christian Gonzalez. Like, he's that guy. And I think you saw the impact early in the season when he wasn't out there. And you turn on the film this past week, Emeka Egbuka's been outstanding this year. In man-to-man coverage, when he was on Emeka Egbuka, you were like, holy damn, like, Emeka Egbuka can't get open. Like, there's no space. Like, to me, he's that good of a corner. Like, I would pay him whatever that number is. I would pay him early because, like we see in Philadelphia, when you pay guys early, it gives you more freedom. You have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. Pay those guys and try to take advantage of it.
Devin, what have you seen from Mike Vrabel this year, and how much credit does he deserve for the team's 8-2 start?
A lot of credit. I think, I started off, I think his presence of what he demanded coming in as a, former head coach and being at the Titans, I think when he came in, he had a clear vision on how this team gets better. And I think because he had leverage, he had other jobs, he could have went and worked for the Jets. He came in and told ownership, hey, if I'm going to take this job, these are the things we have to do. And I think you saw that right away, the investment into free agency, how they went about the draft, the different upgrades that they have in the building a new facility. Like, all of those things go a long way when you're talking about we're building culture, we're bringing guys in, we're getting guys to believe. I think that all stemmed from Vrabel taking over. And then him as a coach, I think how he goes about it, whether it's a guy hurt on the field and him coming out, holding their hand or talking to him. I mean, the ballsy before the half, first down, to not actually try to score. And, there's coaches, I think, in the NFL, when you do that with your team, they're like, this is stupid. What are we doing? You could see, like, that whole team was like, all right, we've talked about this. We've practiced this before. We know this situation. Offense, we got to go score now. And Diggs makes the unbelievable fourth down catch. That's a team that's behind their coach. That's a team that we saw a long time in New England when Bill would make some, hey, we're going to go for it on 4th and 2 in this area. Like, whatever it is, you saw, like, all right, even on the outside, if you could be like, that was a pretty dumb decision. Like, to me, what Vrabel did, that was dumb. Like, but it doesn't matter if your whole team believes in what you're going to do, because sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you'll be wrong. But we always had a saying, if we're all wrong, we're right. That's what matters. And I think that's what they have right now in New England. I think that is all because of Vrabel and his presence, what he brings, what he preaches day in and day out. Those guys, it's the old school New England way. Like, no one will understand what we're doing, but we believe in it, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, and we'll just win games and keep it moving.
Well, Dev, we miss you on this show. We miss you on this football team, but we will be able to watch you tonight, and can't wait.
No, you don't miss me on the team anymore. There's a new 32, and you don't need me out there. But I will say, I still had a faster time as a ball carrier than Trayvon Henderson. So
wow.
Until he beats that, I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna take that for myself.
Right there.
Wow. Yeah, man, let's go.
All right, no, and no, any danger of a trap here tonight, or not this team?
I don't think so, but division opponent, there's always a little bit that could have come up. But I just think this team is hot, and I think it benefits the Patriots not having a full week to practice compared to the Jets. They have a lot of moving parts. They got Garrett Wilson's out. You kind of want to switch to Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, but you're not going to get to practice. I think that all favors New England tonight.
Devin McCourty, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Good talking to you guys.
All right. There he is, the great Devin McCourty.